What's up, fellow agents? This is Shane here from The Secret Knowledge, bringing you part 2 of my Justin Johnson interview. If you haven't seen part 1, Justin and I discussed his UAP sighting that took place in Springfield, Missouri, as well as his efforts to spread that information around and some of his own conclusions about what he saw that day. The rest of our conversation, which you're going to hear today, jumps around to various topics. I'm not going to spoil anything here, but we talk a little Bigfoot, we talk a little paranormal. We keep things alien and UFO centric as well. So if you enjoyed that first part of the interview, I think you're going to enjoy this part as well. Well, I'll stop talking so we can get to the good stuff. And please remember to like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. We've got some great stuff in the pipeline. It's going to be an exciting year for this channel. Thank you so much once again, and let's get into the interview.
I'm going to ask you really just if there are any other specific events that have really captured your imagination. If there's any specific UAP story you really resonate with, or something that really drives your curiosity.
I've really been interested in all of them, like all the major ones, like the Phoenix Lights and obviously Roswell and all that stuff. I've watched countless documentaries on those, and Phoenix is huge just because it has so many witnesses and the pilot's testimony and stuff and everybody that kind of came across it. But really, no, I mean, like, I don't know. Well, what's really weird is like a lot of people that look into this stuff obviously have all kinds of theories. There's one prominent one that like once you see one of these things, I don't know if you just become more hyper aware. Right. Some people believe like these things are kind of attracted to people, you know, certain people, and that's why they see them more and more. But like once you see them, you keep your eyes open because you'll start seeing them more and more. Yeah. Well, I personally haven't seen another one yet, but my brother saw one like 2 months ago over Marshfield. And it's being investigated by MUFON right now. And he got a pretty good video of that.
Yeah.
And
I watched that earlier today.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Well, unfortunately, the video we have uploaded is not the best quality, but on his phone, because he has like an iPhone 13, it looks amazing. It's just trying to figure everything we download it to and upload it to is just pixelating it. And I guess he got a good copy to MUFON because they finally called him back like last week, and they were like, hey, just wanted to let you know we're looking into this. He's like, oh, I thought you guys thought it was lame or something. He's like, no, it's actually amazing. He's like, you and your brother both caught really good videos and stuff. Yeah. He's like, and my brother's video, you actually see like birds fly underneath it, like at close range. And they actually looked it up and found the flight records. It's a 747 flying in the background behind it. So you got like, his video has more things in it that they can kind of measure off of to get like a size and distance. Right. So I'm very interested to see what the results are going to be on his. But he was
awesome. Yeah, make sure to get that out to like everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. When MUFON gives us the results on his, we'll be sure to put that on everything too.
Yeah, and I'll link to all that as well, or as much as I can below.
Yeah, we really got to try to get a cleaner video because even the one he's got is pretty good. But I managed to, his phone lets him take pictures like stills, and he managed to zoom in and stuff. And I use Twitter, and I've put some like close-ups of it on my Twitter. It's when you get really close in on it, it's a really interesting looking thing. I don't know if it's the same thing. His is a little different looking. Kind of weird how there's so many different variety of sightings. These things take so many different shapes.
Do you think like, I know this is pretty big, but I know you have interests that go beyond UAPs. On your YouTube channel, you sort of categorize it as a place where you might explore various otherworldly, paranormal, whatever word you want to use, extraordinary events. Do you think it's possible that all this stuff is connected? Is there something energetic going on?
There's all kinds of fun theories about this stuff.
I mean, Bigfoot is in your channel name. Like, key me in on like some of your thoughts on all this types of stuff.
Bigfoot's just another subject, like this thing that's totally plausible. There's myths from all over the world that there's this like hairy creature that lives in the woods and kidnaps people and everything. And to me, I have a fun theory that maybe it is all connected because you have the disappearances in the national forest. You have Bigfoot sightings in the national forest. You have UFO sightings over the national forest. Like maybe Bigfoot is a race of alien. Maybe Chewbacca's are real and they be abducting people out of, unassuming hikers and campers.
Right.
Who knows? The name was just catchy. It was actually like a game channel me and my friends had together, and we just get in there and talk. And when I made the channel, when I got to thinking, hey man, I really want to do something like this because this stuff's kind of fun and I'm super fascinated by this stuff. Plus I just had an outpouring of support. Like when I put this thing on there, so many people started contacting me. And through MUFON, I found out that unfortunately, because of the stigma around this subject, like 1% of people report what they see. And I found that personally because I've had people reach out and they're like, oh, I would never go public with what I saw. I don't want to be that crazy person. You know what I mean? And I'm like, it's a new day and age. This is pretty well accepted in a lot of communities. So if you catch something amazing, go for it. You know, that's not the attitude I kind of took with it. But yeah, like the stigma around this thing is just destroying it right now. You know, it's really, that's an injustice to humanity, because if we're only getting 1% of these things, you know, we're losing out. Like imagine what we would know now if more people just came out with their stories, you know. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, getting back to that, yeah, I know maybe it is all connected, but I think there's a lot of different dynamics to this, like angles to this thing. Like there probably is some sort of government imitation of this stuff. Mm-hmm. Who knows if they're working with the government? There definitely has to be something going on though, because there's just too much of this. Ever since I kind of really started my channel, just, and especially since 2022 has just been so active, just daily. I follow Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Reddit, like and all the UFO stuff on there. And like people, if between all of them, at least a few a day, just amazing sightings coming out all over the world.
What are some of your most trusted places to come across these videos?
You can't really trust any of them, but some of the stuff you can just tell. You're just like, oh my God, by like the reaction of the people, you know, so you can it's pretty obvious to the eye. And people, I mean, technology's gotten pretty good so that people can fake a lot of things now, but there's just some of them you can tell. And I try to share the better ones, but I don't know. It's hard to say anymore because there's so much amazing stuff coming out right now. And I'm following all these different channels.
What do you think contributes to the quantity of footage and pictures and stories coming out right now? Do you think it's just finally catching on? Do you think it's because of popular documentaries? Do you think it's because of videos like yours? What do you think's contributing to phones? Yeah, that's what that
technology. Everybody's got cell phones now, and the cameras on them keep getting better and better and better, and we keep getting more and more memory. And as this thing, I mean, like me, you know, I'm no pro. I got a cheapo phone. Like I was on my way from work and I saw this. So everybody just immediately, hey, get that on video, you know, it's time to throw that online and get some views out of it or something, you know. So which is really weird because evidently there's a couple 100,000 people in this city and I was the only one in rush hour traffic that saw this. I literally had a buddy the next morning at work. I was telling him what happened and he was behind me. I was in my work van and he was following me. And he's like, I saw you whip over, but I didn't see what you were talking about. He's like, I didn't even notice it. He's like, I just kept going home. I was like, how? You were right behind me. And this thing was just over traffic, like down low, bright, shiny. Like how did people not see this?
People don't look up. I don't look at the sky. I mean, it really is strange. Even if for anyone listening to this, pay attention where you're looking the next time you walk somewhere. You walk to the store or walk up your driveway or something, like you're probably looking down or at a downward angle. Like people don't look up that often, man. I mean, we could be missing out on all types of good shit.
Yeah. And I mean, I wasn't looking up. This thing, like I said, when it first caught my eye, it was like just over the horizon, just above the horizon. You know what I mean? It was just over traffic. Obviously, as I got closer to it, it was higher in the air, but like it wasn't, I didn't have to search for this thing. It was just so blatantly obvious, you know?
Yeah.
Like hundreds of cars on the road, you know? And I'm pretty sure I noticed the car in front of me, they were kind of looking ahead of me because I think when I pulled back out in the traffic and I was following these people, it looked like they were kind of ducking and maybe they had seen what I saw, but they didn't take the time to record it, I guess.
We're talking about your experience. We're talking about this increase in footage and in enthusiasm about this subject. What do you think, what's your like ideal disclosure scenario? Do you think it could ever happen? What do you think it'll look like? What do you think disclosure should aim to do? Do you think the public can handle it?
I've been chewing on possibly making a video about the new Webb, the James Webb.
Hmm.
I really feel like, I think a couple different things are going on. I think because of technology, and everybody being able to see these, now it's kind of forcing the hand of the government, because obviously they're not wanting to acknowledge this any more than anybody. We've
Right.
got some senators coming out, because they're essentially us that have got elected in there, and they have interest in this thing. But I think this goes far beyond what they realize. And we've seen out of some public statements out of the Pentagon here recently that they're not too keen on wanting to share that information. They said, no, we already have the things in place that we need to report this, and obviously there's some things we're not going to be able to tell you because of national security purposes and stuff. Well,
Right.
what the hell does that mean? You know what I mean? Like, you're just inadvertently just told us you know a lot more about this, and then with people like Lou Elizondo coming out and acknowledging this stuff, and telling us that the government has like much better things than what have been released so far. I don't know, man. I don't know. There's definitely more to this.
Like, let's say 10 years from now, how different, or if any different, do you think the public understanding of this type of stuff could be?
If technology keeps progressing, it's inevitable that we're going to catch something. Like I said, I think the web is possibly, they're going to use that as a tool to maybe finally give us some sort of disclosure, because you had NASA come out here recently and say, hey, we can't deny this stuff anymore. We can't explain this stuff. It's going from ground to sky, and we can't explain that. Like, in the blink of an eye, we don't have that.
Yeah.
They said that it might be a foreign adversary, but they just don't foresee that, because they would have had to have leapfrogged us in tech, like,
Right.
to a degree that no, there's just no way. You know what I mean? They're stealing our secrets right now. I really don't think they're jumping that far ahead of us that quickly.
Yeah.
So I think that my theory is that they'll use possibly the web to find something, or potentially show us something they already know about, and be like, here it is, guys. Like, we see them. You see them on that planet. Like, there it is, so that they can say they finally did it. But I think we're all really doing it, just these daily sightings. We're just saturating the internet with it so badly right now. And
Yeah.
I feel like everybody is kind of looking up,
Do you have any personal like alien theories? Like, let's say, don't even worry about the direction of the conversation. Like, is there just anything you think about aliens?
I don't even know. Like I've said, I've watched everything everybody else has. Ancient Aliens, Gaia with the Stephen Greer stuff. Like, it is so hard to know. And I don't even like to pretend that I have this figured out. And that's what irritates me the most about this. And I kind of hold that in similarity with you guys, is that nobody knows. Like, religion hasn't been able to explain all this stuff to us. It's still got massive holes in it. Our modern day mainstream history and science is still not answering all the questions yet. There's still so much out there. We can't explain consciousness. We don't know what's up with black holes. You know what I mean? There's, depending on where you get your facts from, even global warming and stuff is still up for a massive debate, whether it's natural or whether it's man-made, or what's going on with it. You know what I mean? Like, nothing is certain right now, and I don't even like to pretend that it is. I think that's doing us a massive injustice if we pretend that we know what's going on. And it's my goal to always stay open until something is proven. Like, prove it. I hope that they do exist, and they do come down, and they enlighten us to a degree.
Yeah.
It just melts the human psyche. You know what I mean?
I really liked what you said about, that there's no way to have all the answers. There's all these different places to watch things. Do you have any favorite documentaries that you've seen, or sort of things that were more impactful for you than others?
There's a new one out that's really been kind of cool.
What's it called?
It's getting a lot of criticism. It's the new documentary UFO. I think who is it? J.J. Abrams or someone that's doing that one. It's on YouTube. It's like a multi-series thing. I've only seen like the first episode of it, but something that kind of went under the radar, and I don't know if it's been debunked or not, I don't think it gets enough attention, is like, there's a segment in there where they talk about how when they scrambled the fighter jets, the pilots came back with images, and they were just their testimonies, they're like, oh my god, we don't know what that thing was. Like, it was a big black triangle craft, and they literally showed those images, but I have not seen those anywhere else.
Wow.
Like, that's so underrated. Like, we have pilot jet camera pictures of what the Phoenix lights were. Like, why is that not all over the news networks and stuff? Like, you know.
Well, I need to see this documentary. You said this is called just UFO?
Yeah, and it's on YouTube. But I've seen the other ones acknowledged. Obviously, I mean, I got out of Ancient Aliens a long time ago, kind of because it just seemed
Yeah.
really repetitive. But I watched like the first several seasons when that was popular. You know,
Yeah.
they got new ones out, and evidently they're
They
getting
are.
good
They're
reviews,
still
so
going.
I need to check them out. I think that Fabio guy's freaking hilarious. So
The Phenomenon. That one.
yeah,
That one.
yep.
Have you seen that one?
I think I watched that one.
That one I really enjoy. You know, I only watched it the one time, so I'm not trying to say this is like the best recommendation ever. But what I loved about that documentary was I think it did it the right way, where it kind of just showed you as much footage or pictures as there was of any of the events. It hit you with a couple public responses. It hit you with some historical perspective, and then it just moved on to the next one. And it was kind of like 7 or 8 different stories about sort of famous UAP sightings. I thought it was great.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones out there. There's little stuff with Bob Lazar, all those. There's a new one out
Yeah. What do you think of Bob Lazar?
I mean, obviously there was a campaign against him from day one. A lot of people wanted to paint him as like crazy and stuff, but as time has went on, like a lot of what he said has kind of come to fruition.
Mm-hmm.
Like, these things are getting more and more prevalent. Friends of his are coming out and telling their stories too, and I don't know. There's a lot of it's pretty controversial right now, but lately, here recently, there was a ping put around near Area 51 of the S4 base that he supposedly worked at. It's gotten a lot of pushback because supposedly it doesn't match the description of where he said it should be.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are like, why would they all of a sudden put, tags on there?
Uh-huh.
Why would they put tags all of a sudden on there just acknowledging where this thing was? And who knows, but supposedly one of Bob Lazar's Third Phase of Moon did an interview with one of Bob Lazar's like real close friends, and he kind of seemed to believe that was possibly actually where the place was and stuff. That's what they were kind of getting at, is like so the skeptics came out and said that basically anybody can put a ping on Google Maps.
Mm-hmm.
But these were official pins that they had put on there. And I guess doing some research and stuff, no one else has been able to do it, because like Third Phase like challenged and it's like, okay, ping my house if you can do it, and I guess nobody's been able to do it. So you have to have a pretty good clearance at Google or whatever, to be able to put those things on there. So and
So,
after
what was the scenario?
S4 is the base that Bob Lazar supposedly worked at.
Mm-hmm.
And here recently, somebody was looking around on Google Maps, Google Earth, and they found what they said to be S4. And weird enough, it actually had 2 pings that literally said S4 base on it.
I see.
Yeah. Well, a lot of like know-it-alls, experts came out and they were like, that's not it. That's not where he describes it, because he says it's down by the lake or whatever. And this thing's like kind of up in the mountains. But when they get to kind of describing the place, it kind of matches the description a little bit, like the 2 buildings and stuff. And I don't pretend to be an expert in any of that. Like, I'm a casual observer of all this,
Yeah.
Well,
and I can allow a certain amount of leeway with, like, if a geographical thing isn't exactly as described. I mean, in my own memory, I would have told you gun to my head that this creek ran through this part of this woods I saw every day, and you could take me there now and I could be wrong. I mean, no one's memory is going to be 100% amazing.
And obviously, I mean, I guess they found something that was kind of similar to that a long time ago, and they kind of thought that's where it was. But obviously, his description of where it was, it's never been found. But they found this place, and it happened to have marks. And weird enough, after it caught media attention, literally the next day, somebody went on Google and removed the pings from it. So, why?
Yeah.
pretty interesting. But like it's giving more legitimacy to his stuff, and
Yeah.
as we start seeing more and more of the stuff, and now the government's looking into it and investigating, like investing our tax dollars into researching this stuff, and NASA's coming out, the what was it, the Washington National Cathedral, they had that big meeting there here recently and kind of talked about, had all these like experts on, and like what would it mean and what do you think, to society or civilization for this stuff to be real. And
Yeah.
with everybody taking these attitudes, we're like, well, now he wasn't crazy, was he? Like you stated, you haven't been telling us the full story the whole time, so I'm more ample to believe him at this point than them. The government burns their credibility more and more every day.
Yeah.
It's just unreal.
It is kind of crazy that we live in a time of such enthusiasm because, my dad, for example, is super into aliens and super into UFOs. So I kind of grew up around that. So to me, it was always normal. But I remember when I was like a little kid and I would tell people my dad had seen a UFO when he was like 5 or 6. No one ever really knew what to say to that. And it was almost weird to kind of talk about it. I mean, not to me, I didn't care, but people never really knew what to say and were kind of like weird about it. Whereas now I feel like on any given day, I mean, my grandma now is enthusiastic about UFOs because of a 60 Minutes special on the whole UAP situation. Now my grandma's into UFOs, so it's kind of amazing.
Yeah, it kind of had the same different, like everybody I knew personally, my brothers, my parents, everybody, we grew up here, obviously. This is smack dab Bible Belt. We were all raised
I
kind
had a
of
Bible Belt.
Southern Baptist.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody here really believed in that stuff, but once I saw it, like I've had some very interesting conversations with family members now that I'm actually surprised, like, wow, like it's made them more open-minded, and
Yeah.
that's been really cool.
And don't you kind of find, so I had a note down here that you and I both live in the Bible Belt, a very, very religious part of the country. But I also feel like a lot of sightings happen in the Midwest and especially in the South. What do you think's up with that? I mean, do you think they're drawn to the space somehow?
I don't know, I have a couple different theories on it, because like if it's government, why would they do it in broad daylight
Mhm.
over population centers down this low? That kind of makes me tend to believe it's like aliens and they just don't care. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, like this is such a part of the country where everybody is so like, because if I post this video, I've noticed it clearly. If I post this video in like certain areas, like obviously if I post this in like subreddits that are pro UFO, there's going to be some skeptics in there, but like the overwhelming majority of people are kind of accepting, they're curious of this subject. But
Mhm.
if I post this thing in like say a local Reddit or on a local Facebook page, oh, it gets so much hate. So much hate. It is unreal. And with that, you're kind of able to gauge the temperaments of certain parts of the country. And here
Right.
it is still just people don't believe it. They're not buying
Yeah.
it. You know what I mean? And I don't know if it's necessarily because it kind of violates their belief system,
Hmm.
and or it just makes them uncomfortable in general and they just don't want to acknowledge it. And I kind of go back and forth with skeptics online all the time because I'm kind of outspoken and I don't really care.
Yeah.
Whatever. Uh they don't have answers for this thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
None of them do. No one can explain this, and until somebody can, I'm not like buying it. Nobody's an expert in this subject, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Is there any, what would you say? I want to do a little bit of a best, best and like most hated. What's your most hated line of skepticism? And what's a line of skepticism you have a little bit of respect for?
I can respect the people that say there's just not enough proof. They want that like proof, but I don't know, like the ones that just immediately jump to balloon or whatever, it drives me absolutely crazy. Like they just they seem like very intelligent people, but they're so small-minded that they just instantly like drone, balloon, like whatever,
Yeah.
done with it, and then they just move on, and you're just like, wow, you did not look into this thing at all. Like,
Does any of the hate or pushback ever get to you? Because you are kind of building a bit of a platform now. You've got a Discord, you have a YouTube channel, a fairly active Twitter. Does it ever get to you, or does it not bother you?
No, I mean, so going through like cancer and stuff, you kind of face your mortality a little bit, and like you realize life is really short. And these people don't like pay my bills or have any relevance in my day-to-day existence, so I really
Mhm.
don't care what they think, you know. I hope that they're using this in the right way and learning or something, but
Right.
it's disappointing. And I don't know. Like I've been online. I'm kind of a gamer and stuff, you know, and I grew up in those communities. It's a rough crowd, so you got to
Oh
have
yeah,
thick
you got.
skin if you're going to exist in those environments. And I was the oldest of four. We're all boys and stuff. We all gave each other shit, and like, just no. I take teasing. I don't, you know.
Yeah.
I just don't pay any mind to it and keep going because obviously nobody can be loved by everybody. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Everybody's gonna have somebody that, you know, is bashing on them or hating on them or whatever. So I don't take any of it to heart.
Well, since the haters don't even get to you, what are your goals with all your projects right now? Because like I said, you have the YouTube channel, but you're also operating a Discord server. So is there anything you really want to get at, with your content making, or what are your goals as a content creator right now?
I don't know if I want to be a content creator, and I'm trying to get to that point to where I could eventually get there and do that on a consistent basis. But if anything, it's just more of a news source because I feel
Mhm.
like especially people I knew around here personally, they're not well informed on this subject. And like my own family and stuff, when I started kind of making videos about the things that interest me, the stuff in this field that I'm finding, the videos and the sightings and the news articles and stuff, there's like, wow, I had no idea that stuff's going on. Because if you aren't into that subject in general, with all the algorithms and social media and stuff, you're not being recommended that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? It's not being shown in local news, obviously. And world news talks about it in rare, you know, brief glimpses
Right.
here and there, but this isn't like a huge subject, you know. So I hope to create some sort of platform that's just bringing, because I take everything. I'm not trying to get famous, and I don't care if I inadvertently advertise for somebody else, because if they're making good content, they're making good content, you know.
Right.
Props to you, man. Thank you for sharing. I'm just trying to take all the best stuff I can find and just get it out there, share it everywhere. You know, that's like when I took my video, I put it on everything I could think of. I sent it to everybody I could think of because I was like, man,
Mhm.
people need to see this. This is unexplainable, and I think somebody knows more about this than they're willing to say. So I
Right.
hope, and this, not to be like self-righteous or something, but you know, I'd like to think that, you know, after kind of surviving cancer and stuff, you know, it kind of makes you ask like, what's going on, you know? Did I have a reason for, you know, there had to be some reason I survived. If there is some grand scheme to things, like maybe I had a purpose, you know, and then I saw this thing and it gave me kind of the opportunity to make some sort of platform out of it. And it's not some raving success yet, but it's small. And for a nobody from the middle of nowhere, you know, I feel like it's kind of getting something going here.
That's really cool that you said your goal right now is almost just to be this like source of this type of stuff. Videos that come out, more information, more analysis. I think that's amazing to hear, and I hope you keep going. I'm happy to be in the Discord now. I've already poked around a little bit, you know.
Heck yeah, man, I keep it up to date. I like so I used to, well, I still do, secure team, not to advertise for him. The guy's
Uh-huh.
a wild success. He's one of the things that really got me into this. And I got all my friends. We used to get to work in the mornings, be like, what did Alien News have today? You know, and it'd be a joke amongst us, and we'd always watch because he always finds really interesting stuff. And something about him is he's like Tyler, he's just relatable. He's young, you know, he's not an expert. He's an average guy that really got interested in this stuff. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And it just, with that being said, it made easy the stuff that made it easy to take in what he was kind of putting out there, and his format was always very entertaining and stuff, you know. So uh forget exactly what I was going with that, but yeah, yeah, like I really appreciated his channel, and I kind of wanted to, I would love to do something similar to he does, you know, but I just hope to be that source, of just information for everybody. And hopefully I can bring, by being kind of relatable, that I feel like I kind of have that regard with people, that maybe I can create some sort of platform where everybody can be like, well, look, he's just like me. He just wants to know. He doesn't pretend to know. He's not trying to give me the answers. He's giving me his theories, but take them with what you want. I don't think I'm convincing anybody, but I hope I could potentially serve as like some sort of catalyst, for this subject. And I've gotten a little bit of support from some people. People keep telling me to keep going with it and stuff. And I've had a lot going on lately. I haven't been able to make any content here in like last month or so because we're in the process of moving, and we've had health stuff going on. I actually am in the process of getting over COVID too. I tested positive and stuff. So this is like 8 or 9 days now or whatever. And I seem to be faring all right. So with my health history and stuff, I was like, man, I really didn't want to come into contact with it, but we're all going to have it at some point. So fortunate to still be here. And
I'm very happy that you're feeling okay.
Yeah, man. And I had no idea that you guys had your project here in Springfield, and it's really awesome to find some like-minded people that are into this kind of stuff and curious about it. And I'd love to collaborate more with you guys, if you guys ever want to, or have you on to talk about some of the theories and stuff. Because like you said, I want my channel not just to be that's kind of why I gave it the name Bigfoot Cyberark, thinking about it, because it's kind of like Bigfoot's like a pseudo thing, a pseudoscience and whatever, and the whole UFO thing. And then like I want to create like, I don't know that I necessarily believe in ghosts and stuff like that, but I can't disprove it either. And people have some really crazy stories. So I wanted it to be kind of like just a hodgepodge of just everything. Anybody that's got a sighting or an experience, feel comfortable, come talk about it. We're not judging you because we don't know, that's my community, I hope to have those kind of,
it's got some good ghost stories.
Oh yeah,
this guy.
Heck yeah! So I need people. You want to come on and talk about it?
Yeah,
definitely. Listen all day. You know what I mean?
Really fun.
I love hearing the stories people have to tell, no matter Bigfoot, ghosts, and I like interesting science stuff too. Like if you got theories about the universe and want to talk, theology or whatever, your beliefs and stuff. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. I had a very interesting UFO conversation with a coworker like a couple weeks ago, and he is hardcore like Christian, so he didn't think it was aliens, but I didn't. I'm not going to tell him he's wrong.
What did he think it was?
I don't know, like possibly demons or something, I guess.
Oh, shit.
Something spiritual though.
I did hear from a priest 3 years ago now. The demon activity is apparently at an all-time high.
Oh, so, yeah.
I don't know how he measured that or how he came to that conclusion, but that's what...
There's all kinds of theories. People think this is all deception and stuff, and we're all being tempted by it with science.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Well, hey, man, this was amazing. Just let's make sure everyone knows where to find all your stuff. So your Twitter handle is...
I go by Just Johnson, but I also, everything's under Bigfoot Cyberark. We have a Facebook group. I'm on Discord, Reddit. I don't have a whole lot going on Reddit yet. I need to get that a little more active, but really on Twitter and Discord and YouTube.
And I'll definitely say, for anyone who is looking for a new Discord community or just wants a place, I mean, I'm in this Discord and we've got a good, number of people in here. So if you want to sort of join the conversation, I would absolutely recommend this Discord channel.
No, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, the more the merrier. Come in, share your experiences, or just learn, because I'm just like everybody else. I'm just finding all the best stuff and posting it in here. So, and it gives us a cool place for people just to kind of chit chat and stuff freely. There's different channels and stuff, whether you want to voice chat or just text or whatever. So,
well, is there any last things you want the world to know?
Look up, kind of get out of your own world for a little bit. Stop looking at the tabloids and the news articles and being so consumed by what's going on right now in our day-to-day lives, because it's super stressful. But I really think there's something much bigger going on that's a little more important, honestly.
I heard a long time ago on an episode of Coast to Coast, somebody said nothing good ever came from an alien abduction, but I don't know if I agree. I think maybe there are brilliant things still coming our way. So we'll see what happens. We'll keep looking up, and thank you everybody for listening. And please go check out all of Justin's stuff. He's an amazing guy. And thank you so much, man.
Thanks for having me.